Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to New Life Live. We are so excited that you joined us in all the ways that you join us. And by us, I mean Marc Cameron and Dr. Alice Benton. We're going to be taking your calls for 2 hours today, 1-800-229-3000. And as always, if you're listening on the podcast, you know we are here for you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1 to 3 Eastern Time, 1 to 3 p.m. You can call us 1-800-229-3000. We've got some calls coming in, but we have some space for your call, and maybe today is the day. One of the things that I love is to hear the wisdom of our co-hosts. You know, there's some brilliant people that are along for this trip. And today, Marc, I know that you have brought some wisdom to share with our audience. What would you like to share today?
I have. Well, I was thinking about that. We have Restore coming up here February 23rd to 25th, which is for women who are recovering from betrayal. And one place where I see many relationships get stuck is at the beginning when there's this power differential that needs to kind of happen. Because usually in betrayal, there is a power differential swing that happens where the person who is unfaithful puts the betrayed person in a one-down position through lying and gaslighting, and only they really know the truth. And so when you get into recovery, that power differential really needs to swing the other way. So that the unfaithful person can then feel like they are building safety and trust as the betrayed person, as the unfaithful person then puts aside some of their rights to be angry or for transparency and privacy. And so really, though, I see a lot of people who get stuck in this because, especially for men, they want to start to work on the marriage problems before they work on the betrayal piece. And that's just not possible. And sometimes people get stuck here for a couple of years. And so my hope in bringing that up is that people can understand when they're getting stuck in that dynamic and to see where they really need to start the betrayal process.
It's why Restore changes things so much, no matter what the husband, if he's the betrayer, no matter what he's doing, because the women learn what they can do for themselves, what boundaries they can set in order to regain the stability in their heart, in their body, and in their home. And that's what boundaries does. If we're waiting for somebody else to change, which most of us are, then we've given away our power. And boundaries helps us to learn how to reclaim it in a holy and healthy way.
Yep.
One of the things that we see too is the fact that what we experience in our adult life always will attach to the wounds from our childhood and from our early stages in our relationship. And, you know, a lot of times we just have to find the healing part of that journey. That also keep us from getting stuck, right, Marc?
Correct. Yes. There's a whole dynamic that happens where our childhood wounds, we end up bringing all of those expectations into our relationships for how we've been shaped to express our emotions and get our needs met. And each relationship has a core pattern that they fall into where we start to repeat some of the lessons that we've learned, and people get stuck there. So learning to recognize when we're acting from our childhood wounds and growing into our adult selves is often the healing for many relationships.
Yeah, it's so true. And the way forward, right, is when we recognize the insecure attachment to move towards that secure attachment. Even post-betrayal, we can find that healing. We hear it all the time from people, not just women, who have experienced that healing after betrayal. There is hope for you. If this is a place that you're stuck, we want to help you move forward. We're taking your calls, 1-800-229-3000. And you can hear the music, but we're going to be here in between the music. And we're going to be back answering your calls after this.
We all have struggled with weight problems all our lives. This involves not only the health side of it, but the spiritual side of it.
If you're ready to begin a comprehensive plan that provides freedom in every area of your life, New Life's Lose It for Life online intensive can help. This online intensive features Zoom sessions presented by Steve Arterburn and Elena Al-Sharu on Saturday, January 27th, plus 4 small group process sessions facilitated by a credentialed New Life Network counselor.
Of all the things, the best part for me was the small group time.
If you're finally ready to stop going from diet to diet and begin a comprehensive plan that addresses the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of a healthy lifestyle, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
It is a life change. It is not a diet. It is not just a plan. It is a life change.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I think you can hear me. I know that there is static, and we're working on it. It's always something, but we are going to go to the calls right away, and we're going to talk to Pat, who's calling us from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Listens on WFIL. Hello, Pat. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Oh, hi. Well, first of all, I just want to thank New Life so much. You've helped me so much. I guess I've been listening to New Life now about 25 years. Oh, and God is so good. He is so good. And, okay, the question I have is, I'm a Christian, and I know what God has done in my life for me. And I have a granddaughter. She's 21 years old, and she was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome and ADD when she was in 4th grade. She no longer has Tourette syndrome, but still has ADD, and she was just diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was very angry at first when I found out because one of my best girlfriends is bipolar, and you know, I've dealt with the situation with her for many years. And I think right now where my granddaughter is, I would say about maybe 4 years ago, she did have a lot of trauma in her life from her father's side of the family, and he's not with my daughter. And oh gosh, what was I going to say? I'm sorry. I don't know. My mind just went off track right now. So I think the question I have is, my daughter's not a Christian, but I just keep on praying and have unconditional love. And I'm trying to find out. My granddaughter was very open to get help about 4 years ago. In fact, she went to Al-Anon because her father has an alcohol problem, and she did go to counseling. She wasn't on medication then because we didn't know she was bipolar, but now her life is so different. She doesn't want to do anything. In fact, my granddaughter was living in the woods in a tent a couple of months ago. And then she decided, we told her she could not, my daughter said she couldn't come home unless she went and got help. She did go to a facility. I don't really think it was real helpful for her. In fact, I think my granddaughter was manipulating my daughter. She said she was having problems, and they took her to the hospital. And then she went back to the facility, and
Pat, I'm going to insert a question here. Do you think your granddaughter is or has also struggled with substance use?
Oh, she's doing that too. Yes, she was starting to. Well, she started getting into. She broke up with her boyfriend about 3 years ago. Then she started going out with. I guess they go on their phones, whatever they do. And because I told my granddaughter, Shayla, you should not be having friends just going on your phone. And then she started hanging out with these friends, and then she was really exhibiting bad behavior with alcohol and like mushrooms or whatever these things are. I forget what they're called. psychedelic drugs. She started going to raves.
Pat, how heartbreaking for you to see her go from being so receptive to help. There was more stability in her life, and now that has just deteriorated. You're painting a pretty clear picture of how dire things have been lately for your granddaughter. What is that question for us?
Well, the question for me is, okay, and also my daughter is a wonderful mother, so hardworking, trying to do everything she can to help Shayla, but she's just so totally frustrated because I don't want to start crying. My son-in-law is not helping. My heart goes out to him. And he's not the father of Shayla, but he's drinking. My daughter wanted him to get help. He doesn't want to get help. He's drinking. He's blaming my daughter for everything. And he's not dealing with the situation with my granddaughter Shayla in the proper way. So right now, and then she promises, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but she can never follow through.
So, Pat, I'm going to have you take us into that question. How can we help today?
Okay. I believe in love and consequences. So I want to help my daughter because she's so frustrated. And she said, "Mom, I don't want to put her out in the cold. I don't want to put her out, but she's got to do something." And she'll promise, and then she doesn't follow through. She was on the medication.
So Pat, give us a how question. How should I, or a what question?
I guess the question is, if this was your daughter, what would you do?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you talking about your daughter, or are you talking about your granddaughter?
Oh, no, it is my granddaughter. We are very close. I do not want to be enabling her.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel because of her bipolar disorder, we're from two different planets.
Mm-hmm. But
I love her very much.
who you were talking about love and consequences? Are you talking about for your granddaughter love and consequences? Or are you talking about for your daughter love and consequences?
Oh, no. I think my daughter, I know she loves Shayla. And then she said to me today, "Mom, she has to follow through with working."
Right.
And
so I think I'm getting what you're saying is what should your daughter do with your granddaughter with love and consequences? I think that's what your question is. Is that right?
And how do you handle this bipolar disorder?
Yeah.
I wanted to take her to Dr. Amen in Washington, D.C., but now she's not open, and she gets very angry. She said, "No, I don't want to talk about this ADD. I don't want to talk about bipolar."
So give me a second just to kind of comment here a little bit, Pat. So here's bipolar disorder is a very, very challenging disorder. It's a mood disorder, and people have these swings from these highs to these lows, and it's an imbalance that they're experiencing. Often, it's not really a will thing; it's a mood. It's a mood thing that's happening, and so. I think what you can do here's would be my guidance is you do want to try and get the best possible help and care for this person. Definitely, it sounds like, and she is under the care of a psychiatrist because medications is going to be the number one.
We couldn't even get a psychiatrist. My daughter,
So, Pat,
sorry.
give us a chance just to comment to try and help you out here. So that's where I think your number one goal is going to be is to get her to a psychiatrist, someone like Dr. Amen, who you're mentioning here. Now, if she won't go, you may have to wait until she is in more of an upswing to try and convince her to go. The other thing that you may have to do, and again, I appreciate what you're saying about love and consequences, you may have to see, or your daughter or you may have to see, okay, what is a consequence? Maybe there's something that you're paying for or supporting her in a certain way that you may have to say to her, okay, we're going to pull back from this until you can do this other thing because we love you and we care about you and this is a safety issue, and so we can't pay for this or we can't provide this other thing until
Right.
you do this.
Right.
And in your position, Pat, I think grandparents can be really vulnerable to the requests of the grandchild who is living an addicted lifestyle and not getting help. And so your heart must be tugged all over the place. And it might be really hard for you to tolerate your daughter's boundaries with her daughter.
Oh, no, my daughter, no, you know what? My daughter and I are very, very close, and the Lord has helped me and given me strength, because,
Well,
you know what?
But Pat, you know what I think Alice is saying is that it makes you feel badly when your daughter tries to do what she can. It's not that you and your daughter have a problem, but it's just that
Right.
it's just hard when you are dealing with difficulties of how to
Sure.
get through. I think that's what you were saying, right, Alice?
It is, because those kind of boundaries that allow your granddaughter to choose to live in the tent in the woods, which is awful for you all to know and to tolerate that that's the life choice that she was recently making. We have to
Right.
allow our addicted family member to get to a crisis. And it can be
Oh, I
shocking at
understand.
how big the crisis needs to be before they're next willing to accept help. This doesn't quite apply to your granddaughter, but I have worked in the substance abuse treatment field, and many folks who finally successfully gained sobriety or were willing to get the psychiatric help and the therapeutic help again, they have described how low they had to go before they were then willing, whether it was I had to be left in jail by my family and not bailed out, or it wasn't until I saw my possessions on the front yard that I was willing to. It wasn't until my spouse was no longer sleeping in the same bed with me that I was finally willing to get the help. So allowing the crisis to build is unfortunately necessary when someone is so resistant. And so for you and your daughter, my hope is that you will get into or stay in support groups, whether it's a New Life recovery group, Al-Anon, NAMI, because you need the help in dealing with the grief, the anger, the frustration, the desire to help, and perhaps the desire to help too much sometimes, although you are setting some good boundaries there. But take your emotional discomfort regularly to other people in support groups like that who can help you to process the emotions when you have little power over your granddaughter.
That's very good, Alice. We're going to send Pat a copy of the book I did with Steve, Understanding and Loving a Person with Bipolar Disorder. As you mentioned, Marc, it is a very complex diagnosis, and there's a lot of people that are struggling with it, and people in the family that are dealing with it. But I think that'll help. Go ahead, Alice.
Becky, having two phrases handy. What you are able and willing to do and what you are not able and willing to do, because the request will come. And so perhaps it is, I am able to take you to a meeting. I'll go with you. It does not work for me to support you financially or to have you stay in my home right now.
That's very good, very good. And we'll be praying for this situation, Pat. We're so glad that you called. We're going to continue taking calls, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to talk with Robert, who's calling us from California, listens on KKLA. Hello, Robert. How can we help you today?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah, I got a little situation here. I'm going on 8 years being married this May, Lord willing, 2024. But you know, when I got married to my wife back almost 8 years ago, and about 2 months into the marriage, she had told me that she wasn't feeling the marriage and that she didn't want it. And so I just kind of packed up my bags. I acted like a child instead of like a man, and I left. And we didn't communicate for about 2 months or so. And then one evening or one late afternoon, she came to my work looking for me, and she said that she, was looking for me, and she missed me, and she wanted me back home. But, I mean, after that, I did go back home, and then after that, it's just an up and down marriage. Every time something's not going right, she's quick to say that she wants a divorce, but she's never, ever done anything about it. And just this month, on the 12th of January, we had talked about going to Miami for our anniversary in May of this year. But that on the 12th of January, which was a Friday, I heard her talking to one of her friends that She's ready for traveling. She's going to get her passport, and she's going to go places. I kept hearing I, and not me or us. So when she had hung up, I actually confronted her, and I told her, hey, I kind of overheard your conversation, and you know what, you kept saying I mean, I didn't hear me or us, you know? And I go, what's going on? She goes, well, yeah, you know, I'm getting kind of tired of this, you know? I go, what do you mean? She goes, yeah, you know, getting tired of this. I don't know if I want this anymore, you know? I go, oh, my God. I go, here we go again, you know? I go, what's going on? She goes, I'm not feeling it. I go, let me ask you something. Since you're always on social media, always on your Instagram, I go, do you have conversations with other men besides your husband? And she told me, well, I like to. Now, in the past...
Well, hold that thought, Robert. Hold that thought. We're going to go to a break. You can hear the music, and we'll get your answer right after this.
When you give to the New Life Scholarship Fund, you're giving someone hope for a brighter future.
I was kind of in the closet and hit with my struggle. Your donation really made the difference, especially in my situation, because I ended up getting laid off from my job.
At the New Life Intensives, hurting people are able to begin a new path towards healing and freedom that has an effect on all of those around them.
I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. You know, I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. Their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To help hurting people to connect to the help they need, make your gift to the Scholarship Fund at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and specifying scholarships.
Someone called and sponsored me to come this weekend. Whoever that is, just know that you saved a life. Literally, you saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Daniel Grossman on coaching.
Coaches are really focused on the future and helping people to develop those skills and those strategies to help them move forward in their life. A coach really partners with you to focus on things like personal growth or health goals, spiritual growth, helping you develop in your career or possibly strengthening your relationships or maybe even breaking free from a negative pattern.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches use different techniques. Some like to use strategic questions and accountability, ultimately empowering you to take those next steps towards your goals.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a New Life coach today.
I really believe that everyone can use a coach in their corner.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We have a new podcast, Every Man's Battle podcast. We drop it every Monday, so that's today. And today's episode is going to be the difference between sobriety and recovery. And you're going to hear some great information, conversations about everything that has to do with sexual integrity, with sobriety and recovery for Every Man's Battle. JJ West, who's our speaker, as well as Doug Barnes, one of our facilitators at our intensive, will be the host there. And you can find it on any platform that you get your podcast. Now, we're going to go back to the calls. We're going to continue taking calls at 1-800-229-3000. We're talking with Robert. He's been married 8 years, and he and his wife have kind of come to an impasse. And Robert, we had to go to the break before you could ask a question. So I want to start there. How can we best help you? What would the question be for us?
Yeah, well, like I said, and let me just run this by you guys real quick. Just this month on the 15th, when we had that conversation on the 12th, she left that weekend and she got back on Monday morning on the 15th. And I was getting ready. I was already in my car. I was in the parking lot, and I was getting ready to go to the gym, and I had other things to do as well after the gym. And her sister had pulled up and dropped her off. And she had owed me some money for the rent, her portion, her half. And what happened was she never gave me the money for the rent, and she told me she wasn't. So I said, no problem. I got some money. I'll go ahead and just cover your half, this month. It's not a problem. Well, I returned back the 15th, that same day later on in the afternoon, probably about 1:30 p.m., and wanted to make something to eat and just get in there and take a shower and just watch the football game. Well, when I got to the door to our apartment, I knocked, and the doors were locked. She answered, and I asked her if I could come in, and she said no. She made it accept. She told me no. So I kind of just stood outside, and I told her, hey, you know what? I go, if you don't let me in, I'm just going to go ahead and call the cops. You know, I go, this is ridiculous. So I just want to let you know that. I go, you can let me in, or I'll just go ahead and just call the cops and see what happens. So I guess she didn't take me serious, and I did call the cops. They did come out. They talked to me in the front, and then they went to the back and spoke with her. And they told me that they can't force her to allow me to go in, but they told me, hey, why don't you just take off and come back later? I said, well, I did. I left at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm back now. I just want to go in and eat, take a shower, and watch a football game. He goes, well, you know what? You know, you can try. We can't stop you from trying to go in. He goes, but, you know, we don't want any fussing and fighting, or else we'll be back.
Okay,
so
Robert?
I said, no problem. Yeah.
How did that end up?
Oh, my wife did not like that. She did not like that. But I had no choice. I mean, I'm like a dog that she just keeps kicking and kicking and kicking, and she doesn't think I'm serious. And I finally had enough with her ways throughout this marriage
Robert,
for the past 8 years.
Robert, here's where I think you guys are stuck. I don't know if you've read the book How We Love. It's about attachment. Becky was talking about that earlier on in the opening. I think that both you and your wife probably have a vacillator attachment style. And that kind of attachment style is very sensitive to abandonment and rejection. And when they feel hurt, they do something called a protest. They sulk, or they pout, or they get angry, or they have an outburst, and they do that to show the other person, I'm hurt and I need you to restore the relationship. The problem is the protest is typically hurtful, and the other person doesn't want to move closer to them. They want to move away from them. And so then they end up in this cycle. And if you get two people who have a vacillator attachment together, they just keep bumping up against each other, both of them protesting, both of them angry, never really getting to the closeness that you want, but both really wanting to get close, and you feel stuck. And one thing that I tell people is you can't get closeness by threatening abandonment. You're doing the opposite of what you want. So I think just understanding about attachment, I think if we can connect you to, because I haven't heard you talk about getting to a counselor, if we can get you connected to a counselor that understands attachment, I really think that will help you open both of your eyes to figure out the pattern that you guys are getting stuck in, rather than keeping, because I'm hearing you telling us about multiple conflicts, and really it's about the pattern that you're in. If you can solve the pattern, then you'll solve the different conflicts going on.
And that's what I try asking her is like, honey, you know, I don't want to change you. I just want to understand you. Now, I think my wife is a big procrastinator.
But I think here, Robert, too, that will help by you understanding yourself, too. Hold on. We've only got a minute here before we got the break, and I think Alice has got something good to say.
So, Robert, it'll be important for you to figure out, are you too burnt out to try again with help? Are you done with this marriage, or is there still some energy and desire left to make an attempt at change? It sounds like there is, because you're calling us. And so one of the keys that starts to solve the reactivity is actually humility and confession, and going to your wife to acknowledge, I, Robert, have been reactive and hurtful, and I think I need help. I believe we both need help. Would you consider going in with me? Because we at New Life, we've got a network of counselors. We can get you connected to start the process of change. There's a solution to the vacillator reactivity, and we can help you with that.
And you know what? We have intimacy and marriage coming up, and we're going to cover that whole patterns of attachment in there. And if you could get to that, I think that would be really helpful for you, Robert.
I agree. Robert, we're going to send you a copy of How We Love, and if you'll stay on, the call screener will tell you about some opportunities to have you and your wife come to intimacy and marriage. You need some deep work to have some deep healing before you make a big decision. We're going to be back taking calls after this. 1-800-229-3000.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
I'm Steve Arterburn with a New Life moment. If the blaze in a fire reaches a flash point, every bit of combustible material in the room, wood, paper, carpet, and furniture will explode into flame. The fire doesn't even have to touch anything in order to spread. A confined blaze will heat the atmosphere until everything in the enclosed space ignites. If it can burn at the flash point, it will. If we apply the same principle to our hearts, the result is equally explosive. When God ignites the passion in your soul and ideas spontaneously ignite, your life will be changed forever. A flash point of the heart can set the world on fire. Has a fire ever smoldered quietly within the confines of your heart? A flash point can occur when you're compelled to change or make a difference, no matter what the cost. I'm Steve Arterburn, and for help on how to take action, visit newlife.com. And thanks for listening to this New Life moment.
We are back at New Life. Welcome back to New Life Live. And we are still taking calls for about another hour and a half. So 1-800-229-3000. If you've ever struggled to get in, today is a good day to be able to connect with us. And this is Alice Benton, and I'm on with Marc Cameron. And we are going to go to another call in just a moment. But Marc, I think, had a piece more of advice about just these vacillator positions and what can happen when we get stuck and how we get out.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to start to recognize how the ways that you get triggered, and I usually give people who have a vacillator attachment an acronym to memorize. My acronym is MUD WARS, MUDWARS, and that's the way vacillators typically get triggered: when they feel misunderstood, unseen or unheard, disappointed, when they're made to wait, when they perceive abandonment or rejection, or when they feel shame. And when Steve was just talking here about a flashpoint, and I think that really happens to vacillators very, very quickly. That flashpoint happens for them and they get intensely angry. And learning just to kind of slow down and cycle through that mud wars, which one of those might be happening for me, might help you depersonalize what's happening with the other person in the moment and help you recognize this is part of my attachment wound, and my attachment wound just got set alight. And like Steve was saying there, it might not have even been touched by the fire. It just got too close to it. And so learning how to recognize that can help you slow things down to be able to more objectively address a perceived conflict that you're having with a person.
And recognizing...
I told you guys that they're wise. I mean, Mark, what you just added to what Steve was talking about is so true. Alice, you want to say one more thing? Want to go back to the call?
Just keeping that recognition that it's usually history is overshadowing the present, and we're being triggered or reminded of what someone else did to us historically. So our current reaction is doubled or tripled because of the unresolved past that's seeping into the present. Somebody else abandoned me, probably in childhood, and I'm feeling like it's happening again. So that child part of me is reacting in a large way.
It's so true. And it can help us as we hear other people's reactions that it may not be about us. It may be something that they're dealing with. So it's something that we all can benefit from learning. We're going to go back to the calls, and we are going to talk with Ellen, who's calling us from Los Angeles, listens on KKLA. Hello, Ellen. How can we help you today? Thanks for calling.
Yes. Hi. My question is, I have an adult daughter who's in a gay relationship, and she's getting married. And she wants me to be part of the ceremony to give her away. And my husband and I, years back when she sat down with us and told us about this, we told her that because it's God's commandment, we don't tolerate it regarding the relationship. But she's still our daughter, and we love her. And we've never turned her away. And even though it hurts us, we still have a relationship where we can talk, but that's the thing. How can I tell her that I cannot be a part of it because of what I still believe in?
Ellen,
without
go ahead. Without?
I feel like if I give her away, it's something that I approve of, and I don't. I mean, I can be there, but not to give her away.
Oh, you are willing to attend the ceremony, just not in that position she's asking of you.
Correct.
I see.
Because I don't want her to. Maybe I need to have a conversation with her. Maybe that's what I need to do.
The anguish is just so evident in your voice, Ellen. I know this is tearing you up because you want to protect relationship with your daughter, but also keep your stand of faith. So we're going to get a little bit of background information to help us better answer your question. Do you have relationship with your daughter's fiance?
I do. Whenever we have any occasion, holidays, parties, she brings her partner, and I love her. I do, because I don't think God would want me to shy away from this person, but I do love her like a daughter, just like my daughter.
So it sounds like you've done a very good job of stating your position when you first found out about the relationship, and yet you still have invested in both of them, and you've still been loving and kind and open to them being a part of your life. Is your husband in agreement at not taking this position in the ceremony that she's asked of you?
The thing is, my husband died of COVID 3 years ago. So it's just me that,
So it's even more poignant that she's asking you to give her away because her father's not alive to do so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, as Alice was saying, we can hear the anguish in your voice. This is a really challenging situation for Christians. And there's really kind of two approaches here. And I don't know if there's really a hard right or a hard wrong to either one. There's the approach that says, don't do a certain thing because you don't want to outwardly affirm. And then there's the other approach that says, show love. And that's the highest value to reach for, and just do what you need to do, but just continue to show love. But I think here where you're getting stuck here, Ellen, is you do have this deep conviction inside you. And I think what's fair is you're willing to kind of do this compromise that you will attend the ceremony to show love, but you also don't want to outwardly affirm with the action of giving away. And that's what the action does, right? When the father usually gives away the daughter, it's symbolic here. So I think you're on the right track here about having a connecting conversation with your daughter. And I think that's the level that I would try and connect on, is the deep conviction level, that she has a deep conviction and you have a deep conviction. And while you love her, it's challenging for you to compromise on your values, just like she wouldn't want to compromise on her values. And I think if you have a strong relationship with her, I think she'll understand, even if she's hurt in the moment.
And I would open up the conversation first as a discussion rather than you're informing her of what you're doing. And so remind her, I love you. I love both of you. You know that. But you also know my conflicted feelings I've had because of faith. And so consider this with me. I'm struggling because I want to be there at the ceremony, and yet it doesn't quite feel right to give you away. But I'm thinking about your father's absence. And so I'm not quite sure what to do, of how best to love you, but to also live by my faith standards. And I would try to draw out your daughter, or even your daughter and her partner's opinion, to make it a discussion. And then I'd let that discussion influence me, sleep on it, pray about it, and then let her know what your choice is.
That sounds really good. Does that sound good, like something you can do, Ellen? I'm more concerned right now, too, with your grief journey, because it's a lot of loss. And but did that help you, Ellen, in just the conversation you'll have?
Yes. I just didn't know how to start it. It would have been nice if my husband was here, but he's not.
Start with an affirmation, Ellen. Like Alice was saying, start with, I love you, I care about you, and but this is where I'm getting stuck. Mm-hmm. And I think if you lead from a place of love, your daughter will see that.
I love that. We're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Workbook on grief too, Ellen. I think that'll be a good part of your healing journey. We're going to come back and we're going to take some more calls. 1-800-229-3000.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family, or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and
it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step towards genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Thanks for your patience with technology. And, you know, we're always doing something, but we're going to make it work. I want to mention Lose It for Life is this Saturday. It's online, and you can still sign up, male or female. We're going to help you figure out what you are feeding. You know, we talk about, everybody knows eat less, move more, but there's more to it than that. And so we just want to help you move ahead. We're going to have Steve as well as Alina Elzru, who's going to talk about exercise and nutrition. And it's a great day for you to spend just taking care of the physical part of your body. And, you know, internal, external, it's all good. We hope you join us. We're going to go back to the calls, and we're going to talk with Bobby, who's calling us from Philly, listens online. Hello, Bobby. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. My question is, I have been in a relationship for 16 years, and my girlfriend was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia psychosis, and she has kicked me out of the house. And my children are displaced right now. They're with their stepbrother, and I am homeless, and I'm trying to get a place to stay. I see my kids once a week right now. I'm devastated about that. But my question is, she still calls me twice a week to have me buy her weed, marijuana, for her to smoke. Can you advise me what to do and whether I should be still talking to her? I feel like I can't turn my back on her because she was once a good person up until this year when she started seeing things and seeing souls, and told me that she was a soulmate of our kid's doctor. And when she came out of the psychiatric hospital, she was there for 3 weeks. She came back and she said, I don't want you here. I've been homeless since September.
Oh, Bobby.
And
Bobby, that's a big...
Yeah, my question
Go ahead.
is, my kids are little and they're confused. They're 7, 10, 13, and 15. And I mean, they're safe. They're with their stepbrother. But still, I feel like it is my job to raise them. But because I'm displaced right now, and I do work, I have a job. I had a job for the last 4 years, so there's stability there. But I don't make enough money to take them. I need the help from the state,
right?
Because my desire is to raise them. That is my number one desire. So
right. Well, so Bobby,
yes.
I have one question, and we'll let Marc and Alice go to the next thing. First of all, do you have a radio on?
No, I don't. It's off.
Okay. All right. It must be me. I tell you, technology. My concern about the marijuana is that I wonder if that didn't precipitate the mental problem that she's having right now, because we do have research that supports that there is some bad marijuana out there, that people have big reactions and it affects them in a mental health issue. But Bobby, I also I commend you for getting your kids into some stable homing, as well as you keeping your job. But there are some assistance that you could probably get from either a church or a charity base in your area. But with that being said, Alice and Marc, let's help Bobby figure out how to have some boundaries in this situation, what to do next.
Yeah, so good for you, Bobby, as Becky was saying, maintaining employment, getting your kids into a safe place. I don't know if you have already, but I would get in touch with social services and see what kind of help you can get from the state or the local county or government. Because this is a significant situation. It's a very significant diagnosis, schizophrenia, and CPS. They always want to keep families together, and it sounds like you have a lot of stability in your kids' lives. You just need to have that place to live, and obviously you lost it because your girlfriend had you move out. So that would be one thing that I definitely would be steering you towards, is getting in touch with social services. And then once you get a stable living situation, then you may even have to go through a court order to see if you can get custody of your children. I would say that
Can I interrupt you for a second? I'm
Sure.
sorry. I went through that route already.
Okay.
Social services says that I make too much, which I don't. But I make too much because I've been working. So they said I have to go through agencies for that. And we also have been to court. My stepson has joint custody with me, so the mother is not really involved because she never showed up in the hearing.
So your question really is about how much do you support your girlfriend in buying her marijuana?
My question is, should I even talk to her? And if I don't talk to her, I still
Bobby, you might have to take it even farther than not only saying no, I won't buy you any substances, but also to take action against her kicking you and consequently the children out of the home, which I know would be terribly difficult for you to come against her, either with authority figures, getting a legal consultation about your rights because you care about her. But if you buy her marijuana and if you don't take action against her, you are enabling her to put all of you into this position where your children do not have you and aren't living with you. So I think you would probably need a whole lot of social support around you to be able to take action against her. And so that would be getting into one of our New Life groups or attending Al-Anon, talking with one of our counselors, because you're going to need to get the courage and the strength to go against what your heart is telling you to do.
And I think here, Bobby, too, just with the severity of the situation, I think the best course of action could be healthy detachment, because she's not stable here, not as a mother, but not even as a partner. And sometimes when you do the healthy detachment and you separate yourself from somebody else, sometimes that's either going to be the external motivation that the other person needs to seek restoration, or you just start down the process of this healthy detachment sooner and you save yourself from some of the heartache, as Alice was saying, because your heart is wanting you to do one thing, but I think you know that the situation is telling you that you need to do something else.
And enabling never helps to break addiction. Never. Yeah. But boundaries, limits, consequences gives the best chance of breaking addictive behavior.
Yeah. And to your point too, Alice, you're not going to be able to do this on your own if you haven't already done it. And so the support groups, the counselors, and it is so frustrating, Bobby, when you go to social services and they say you make too much and all that kind of stuff. I would encourage you, connect with some of the larger churches in your area too, to see how they may be able to help with this situation. It's really tough in these days. We've heard a couple of calls today where there are relationships that are impacted by mental health and mental illness. And, how do we connect with the people that we love, even though they're facing this struggle? In this last remaining minute, we just want you to know there is always hope. There's always hope. And it may not look the way that you think it does right now, but we can get you on that way to a better day. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to still take calls for another hour. We're glad you joined us. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Mark. And thank you, listeners. Thank you, caller.
We hope this
We'll be
program has
with
helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way.